Hello everyone and welcome. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents in the U.S. Chai Masaka in Waldorf, Maryland.
Thousands of Marylanders expressed interest to serve as election judges.
Carla Valdez in Union Township reports about New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signing a legislation requiring the addition of implicit bias training to the cultural diversity training for law enforcement officers. Anna Cui in San Diego, California.
San Diego County schools could reopen September 1.
Lovely Anderson in Fort Worth, Texas.
The aftermath of Hurricane Laura and recovery efforts in the Gulf states.
Pearl Regacion, North Hills, California.
LA County launches an anti-hate initiative.
Mylene Cuscio, North Hills, California.
Los Angeles Lakers issue a statement supporting their players' stand against racial injustice.
And Aika Cheong in Fremont reports about Alameda County allowing businesses to reopen. Plus, an intimate conversation with a frontline healthcare worker in Granada Hills, California, who got exposed to and infected with COVID-19. The story of how she survived it. But first, an overview of the COVID-19 situation. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, August 27, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 24,200,000. Topping the list with more than 5,800,000 is the U.S. Brazil is next at more than 3,700,000 and India at more than 3,300,000. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 827,000 lives worldwide. Topping 3 on this list with more than 180,000 is the U.S., Brazil with more than 117,000, and Mexico with over 62,000. Our coverage begins now. In Maryland, thousands expressed interest to serve as election judges in the coming presidential election this November. Eagle News correspondent Chai Masaka with the details.
Thank you, Alan. More than 11,000 Marylanders have expressed interest to sign up as election judges for the upcoming November general elections in response to the state's call for action. Reports, however, that there's failure to contact potential election judges or they are being turned away prompted Governor Larry Hogan to write local election officials on the matter. In his letter, Governor Hogan wrote that this is unacceptable and hurts the ability to safely conduct the November elections. The letter also outlines the steps the state's administration has taken to assist local board of elections in the recruitment of election judges. This includes sending out multiple notices to about 65,000 state employees, encouraging them to sign up as election judges with an offer of 16 hours of administrative leave for every day of service as judges, working with colleges and universities to make 167,000 contacts to encourage students and staff to serve as election judges, and encouraging state agencies actively promote the need for election judges in their respective homepage and social media platform. These initiatives taken by the Hogan administration has placed the state on track to have election judges recruited more than what is actually needed to man the polls in the coming elections. Governor Hogan directed local election officials to emphasize to the local boards the importance of responding to and the prompt training of potential election judges with less than 3 months before the November elections. This will ensure the safe and effective conduct of the elections amid the pandemic. The Hogan administration continues to encourage Marylanders to vote by mail or to opt for early voting. If voting on election day, Marylanders are advised a safe and efficient option to do so at off-peak times in line with the CDC guidelines. Meanwhile, the Maryland Environmental Service, MES, is on audit for reports of long-standing practice of paying large bonuses, expense reimbursements, and severance packages to its top executives. In his statement, Governor Hogan said that this practice is something no normal state-operated agency should or would ever grant. He emphasized that he did not approve nor have any involvement in such decisions by the Board of Directors of MES. Although the responsibility of conducting its audit rests with the legislature, Hogan said that he has directed the Department of Management and Budget to hold its own audit of the subject agency. New acting director of MES, Charles Glass, gave assurance for a top-to-bottom review of the entity's operations. In a press release, he said that they will rebuild their public trust by operating in an absolutely transparent manner. This is done by submitting documents requested by the Legislative Joint Committee on Fair Practices and State Personnel Oversight. In Waldorf, Maryland, Chai Masagka, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Chai, please elaborate more. How is early voting conducted, and just how early is early voting?
Yes, Alan. Early voting is just like voting on election day because you vote in person. But, of course, as the term suggests, the voting is done earlier or ahead of the scheduled election day. So the period for early voting varies in different states, and it could be as early as 45 days before the election day, or it could be as late as the Friday before the election day. But the regular starting date for early voting is 22 days prior to the election day, Alan. But in Maryland, it will start on October 26th, and it will end on November 2, 2020. And it includes Saturday and Sunday. And early voting centers will be open, Alan, from 7 in the morning to 8 in the evening, continuously. Alan.
So with this early voting setup, that could potentially help quite a bit when it comes to the pandemic, because perhaps people will be able to get out to vote earlier and thus alleviate the needs to be at the voting polls all on the same day.
Yes, Alan, that's true. That's exactly why they encourage early voting, so that there will be no big crowds in the polling places.
Right. That was Chai Masaga in Maryland.
Thank you, Alan.
When we come back, more updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Union Township, New Jersey, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Fort Worth, Texas. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Escanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Macapagal, Bachelor's of Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Frank David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 2015. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read US cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosity, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. and I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University to legit true grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
What's up guys? This is Sir Madrid at inanyaan ko po kayong lahat na mapanood po ang part 2 ng Tagisan ng Galing. Mapakantahan man o sayawan ng iyong hilig, tinitiyak ko po sa inyo na talagang entertaining at exciting po ang ating programa. Dahil po ito sa bago po nating format. Kaya Tagisan ng Galing part 2, coming soon on Net 25.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe in Los Angeles, California. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signs a legislation requiring the addition of implicit bias training, cultural diversity training for law enforcement officers. In Union Township, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez reports.
Thanks, Alan. To further restructure policing and strengthen community relations, Governor Phil Murphy signed on Thursday legislation A3641, which requires the Department of Law and Public Safety to add implicit bias training to their cultural diversity training curriculum for law enforcement officers. Also, this bill would make cultural diversity and implicit bias training mandatory and require every state, county, and municipal law enforcement department to provide training once every 5 years. New Jersey is not only one of the most densely populated states in the country, but we are also one of the most diverse. 45% of our residents are people of color, and this collection of cultures is one of our state's greatest strengths and attributes, said Senator Linda Greenstein. We must continue to strengthen the cultural diversity and implicit bias training so our law enforcement officers are fully equipped to serve our diverse communities. And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 374 new positive COVID-19 test results, pushing the total to 190,613. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting another 7 COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 14,141 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Thank you, Carlos, for that report. San Diego County could reopen schools on September 1. In San Diego, Anna Cui has the details.
Thank you, Alan. According to its official website, San Diego County was removed off of the state's monitoring list last week on Monday after meeting a state metric of fewer than 100 COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people for 3 consecutive days. The county was placed on the list on July 3. 4 more days of that same number, and all schools in the region, kindergarten through grade 12, could reopen for in-person learning beginning September 1. Schools that choose to reopen must follow the guidance that applies to in-person instruction and distance learning. Some of the guidelines include promoting good hygiene practices, wearing of face coverings, implementing social distancing inside and outside the classrooms, ensuring teacher and staff safety, intensifying cleaning, disinfection, and ventilation, training of all staff, and educating families and checking for signs and symptoms. Testing will remain vital, especially for the schools who choose to reopen should the county's case rate continue to meet the state metric. The state of California is granting about $20 million to the County of San Diego to expand COVID-19 testing and contact tracing. The San Diego County Office of Education is also working with the county to provide testing specifically for school staff in late September. In the meantime, testing is available at over 20 sites, which are open to school personnel and children over the age of 12. For questions or additional testing information, check their website at 211sandiego.org. In related news, the county has a dashboard that breaks down race and ethnicity data to provide a better picture of how COVID-19 is affecting the region. It includes tests administered, which is broken down by zip code, case investigators, and contact tracers. As of the current data, Latino makes up about 60% of all cases, followed by white, Asian, and African American. They also top the number of cases and deaths per age group, except for those group above the age of 80, which is 41% white compared to 31% Latino. These data are now available on coronavirus-sd.com. The county has paired up case investigators and contract tracers with the same ethnic groups that make up the local population in which they are working in. Currently, the county has 435 case investigators and 285 county contact tracers. In addition, the county has promotores or community health workers provided by certain organizations that the county is working with, like San Diego State University. Alan, they're doing in-home visits with those who have been in close contacts of positive cases that they're not able to, reach by phone. So I think that's a really good addition to that program. In addition, local community and faith organizations are doing their part by also doing community outreach to minority groups, particularly Latinos, African Americans, Asians, and refugees, to encourage them not only to get tested, but to pick up that phone when contacted by a case investigator or contact tracer. Lastly, the University of California, San Diego will be helping the county to do contact tracing among young people, especially those between the ages of 18 and 24 years of age. As for the current COVID-19 statistics, here in San Diego County, the total number of cases is at 37,222 and 668 deaths. In San Diego, Anna Kui, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Now, Anna, our viewers are accustomed to seeing you reporting out of Las Vegas, but there you are in San Diego. Give us a little bit of a comparison there. How are you enjoying the weather in San Diego compared to Las Vegas?
Well, Alan, I checked Las Vegas weather today, and they're still experiencing excessive heat warning. I believe the high today was 110 degrees, or about 38 degrees Celsius. And in San Diego today, the high was, right now, actually, about an hour ago, it's 81 degrees, which is about 26 degrees Celsius. But I tell you though, Alan, I do prefer the Las Vegas weather. Call me crazy, but there we don't have the humidity that they have here. It's 59% humidity here compared to 6% in Las Vegas. So I do enjoy though. The morning is really cool. It's nice to walk outside, which we can't do in Las Vegas right now. Alan.
Well, Anna, I don't know where in San Diego specifically you are, but now that you have mentioned that you prefer Vegas weather, I'm wondering, do you feel like a fish out of water, or are you spending a lot of time in the water while you're in San Diego?
Well, we've been pretty busy. That's one thing I'm going to do before we leave next week is actually visit the beach. Spend a day, not a day, just a couple hours there. I believe there are beaches that are open, as long as you're not just staying and gathering, maybe go for a walk at the beach. That would be nice.
Excellent. Well, feel free to bring back a San Diego beach tent to all your families in Vegas. Thank you for your report, Anna.
Thanks, Alan.
Hurricane Laura makes landfall in Louisiana. In Fort Worth, Eagle News correspondent Lovely Anderson with the update.
Thank you, Alan, and howdy again from the Lone Star State. At 1 a.m. Thursday morning, Hurricane Laura made landfall near the Lake Charles area of Louisiana, about 35 miles from the Texas border, packing winds up to 150 miles per hour, and 8 feet of storm surge. As early as Tuesday, Texas Governor Abbott issued an official state of disaster for many Texas counties. This authorized the use of available resources of the state government and political subdivisions that are reasonably necessary to cope with this disaster. Governor Abbott today traveled to Southeast Texas to survey the damage from Hurricane Laura and met with local officials. Governor Abbott said although the damage of Hurricane Laura was far less than expected, many communities in Southeast Texas have experienced significant damage from the storm, and the state of Texas is already initiating recovery efforts and ensuring these communities have the support they need to rebuild. The governor thanked the proactive leadership by local officials and the way Texans in the region took action and to protect themselves and their families by evacuating ahead of the storm. Hurricane Laura made landfall in the middle of the night as a Category 4 hurricane. Tree damage has been reported in Jefferson, Hardin, and Orange counties. Orange County has also reported structural damage. Recovery efforts are already underway in the areas hardest hit by Hurricane Laura. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards announced in a press conference today that although Hurricane Laura did not cause the catastrophic damage originally forecasted, Louisiana still sustained tremendous damage from the thousands of lives, homes, and businesses that were affected. According to Governor Edwards, over 600,000 service locations were without power and water service as a result of the tropical storm force winds and rain that swept across most of the state. The well-known Isle of Capri casino barge came loose during the storm and was wedged underneath the Interstate 10 bridge near Lake Charles area, it causing widespread damage. The governor also warned of a chlorine gas chemical fire from a biolab in the Westlake area and is asking residents of Westlake and Moss Bluff to shelter indoors and to remain inside with windows and doors closed to avoid running the air conditioner despite the hot weather due to the plant's fire's toxic fumes. Federal partners and other state and local agencies, as well as volunteers, are currently assisting with search and rescue, which is now the top priority. Under the COVID-19 environment, those needing to be evacuated from their homes that are not inhabitable will try to get them shelter at nearby hotels. Governor Edwards urged residents and visitors to stay home, stay off the roads, due to many downed trees and electric lines, stating now is not the time to be going out sightseeing. Hurricane Laura was one of the most powerful storms to hit Louisiana, but has now been downgraded to a tropical storm and is currently moving northward towards Arkansas, which is at risk for flash flooding. According to Governor Asa Hutchinson, Governor Edwards stated that 4 deaths have been reported in Louisiana for now, but there could be more as emergency crews conduct search and rescue missions. He also mentioned there was less storm surge that they originally expected as the hurricane blew more eastward and the eye of the storm never crossed the ship channel. In Fort Worth, Texas, I'm Lovely Anderson, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Lovely. A quick look at the U.S. map reveals the area of Fort Worth, your area, is a little bit more inland. But how has your area been affected by the hurricane?
You know, we were actually blessed that the storm moved towards the east, and we were west of the storm, so we didn't really, we didn't even have any issues here in our area. So thank goodness the storm moved that way, but unfortunately for those other states that are now experiencing that storm.
Lovely. Do you have family or friends out of that area who have been trying to communicate with you to see how you're doing?
Yes. I've been telling my family and my friends that have been checking on us that we're more inwards and we're west of the storm, and thankfully my friends and my family that are in the Houston area, they weren't affected as well. However, my prayers do go out for all the everybody that was affected in the areas.
And our prayers certainly go out to you and your family as well, Lovely. Thank you so much for the report. Please stay safe.
Thank you.
Up next, more updates from our correspondents in North Hills and Fremont, California. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Bukas na po ang auditions para sa Tagisan ng Galing Part 2. Mag-audition na po kayo sapagkat mahigit sa 7 million pesos ang nag-aantay na papremyo sa kategorya ng sayawan at kantahan. Opo, Tagisan ng Galing Part 2. Dito lamang po yan sa Net 25.
The New Era University, in its 45th year of excellence, discipline, and service to humanity, will offer online education all levels beginning this first semester academic year 2020 to 2021 through the NEU Virtual Learning Environment, or NEU VLE. New Era University offers a complete basic education cycle from kindergarten up to senior high school, offering all strands. NEU has 18 colleges, and 2 graduate schools. It also offers ALS and ETF. Best of all, NEU has the most affordable tuition fees among private universities in the Philippines. NEU is at Quezon City, the city of San Fernando, Pampanga, General Santos City, South Cotabato, Lipa City, Batangas, and Pinugay, Baras, Rizal. New Era University is under the stewardship of Dr. Dilo L. Rosas. What are you waiting for? Be part of the new normal. Enroll now. Classes start on October 5, 2020.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Batoyahe in Los Angeles. Los Angeles County launches an anti-hate initiative. In North Hills, Pro Rogacion reports.
Thank you, Alan. Los Angeles County launches the LA versus Hate initiative for reporting and ending hate acts by dialing 211. The County of Los Angeles Board of Supervisors collaborated with the LA County Department of Workforce Development, Aging and Community Services, or the WDACS for short, and the Commission on Human Relations for the launching of the LA versus Hate initiative to fight incidents of hate and hate crimes happening in areas throughout the county. Los Angeles County 1st District Supervisor Hilda Solis stated, in Los Angeles County, there is no place for hate. Now more than ever, we must all work together to combat the pandemic and take care of one another. The alarming spike in hate incidents in our country, particularly aimed at our Asian Pacific Islander communities and communities of color, requires a robust and creative response. 3-part compose the LA versus Hate initiative. The first part is a marketing campaign to make everyone aware of the dangers of hate and to encourage the reporting of incidents of hate. The second part is the procedure of reporting the incidents of hate, including bullying and violence, by dialing 211. This is the anti-hate reporting hotline where reports of hate acts will be collected by community resource advisors. Reporters can also be connected to resources in their local area. The third part is a network of organizations and departments to assist in the situation and provide prevention strategies. Robin Thoma, the LA County Commission on Human Relations Executive Director, declared standing up to hate is not easy, but by supporting our communities in their efforts to resist and report hate, we are confident that LA County will become a more safe and inclusive space for more than 10 million people who live here. The county has already partnered with local artists and organizations in producing the needed marketing materials for this campaign. Free animated graphics and artworks have been made for Los Angeles residents to post on their social media and text or email to family and friends to get the word out that Los Angeles is taking the needed steps in actions to protect residents of all ages from all kinds of hate acts. In North Hills, California, Pearl Rogacion, Eagle News, will live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Pearl, it sounds like a great initiative, but what if someone does witness a hate incident, but they're hesitant to call 211? They might be afraid of putting their own lives or their family's lives in danger, especially from the one who they witnessed committing that hate act. So what happens if they're afraid of being drawn into that kind of situation?
Yes, Alan, there are a lot of people I know that would have the same feeling if in that particular situation. The answer is that person still needs to report the hate incident, but can do so anonymously, so no personal information needs to be given. The anti-hate reporting hotline, or the 211, will take all reports, whether or not a hate crime has been committed. By reporting the hate incident anonymously, that person will be able to greatly help the victim and assist the county in investigating the alleged hate crime, and also focus attention to the specified area of the county, so the needed resources can be provided to the residents there. They can provide education and crime prevention. Alan?
Pearl, we heard in your report you say no place for hate. We can agree that's definitely a good banner to fly over any community. Why not start with Los Angeles? Thank you so much for your report, Pearl.
Thank you, Alan.
The Los Angeles Lakers issue a statement supporting its players' stand against racial injustice. Still in North Hills, Mylene Cusho has the details.
Thank you, Alan. Los Angeles Lakers issues a statement supporting their players stand against racial injustice amidst the Brooklyn boycott by the Milwaukee Bucks and the decision of the National Basketball Players Association, or NBA, to postpone and reschedule Game 5 versus the Portland Trail Blazers. The team officially stated, "We stand with our players and the players of the NBA in their demand for justice and the end of racial violence." 80% of NBA players are black men. We cannot love them for the joy and entertainment that they bring to the world, yet sit in silence and fail to use the platforms and resources to amplify their voices when they demand the justice and equality that America has promised us all, but denied black people for too long. Shocking events in NBA history took place yesterday when the Milwaukee Bucks took a unified stand in refusing to play the Orlando Magic in protest of alleged racism in connection with the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man in Wisconsin. This, in turn, prompted the NBA to postpone the other two games scheduled that night, Houston Rockets versus Oklahoma City Thunder and Los Angeles Lakers versus Portland Trail Blazers. In the Western Conference, the number 1 seeded Lakers and number 2 seeded Clippers both added weight to the outcry of players in the league. Superstars LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard spoke out during a meeting on Wednesday, voicing their opinions to end the playoffs, which would result in bringing the postseason to a premature close. Executive producer Mike Bass released NBA's official statement today on the playoff games. NBA playoff games for today will not be played as scheduled. We are hopeful to resume games either Friday or Saturday. There is a video conference call later today between a group of NBA players and team governors representing 13 teams in Orlando, along with representatives from the NBA and league office and the NBA Labor Relations Committee Chairman Michael Jordan to discuss the next steps. More development on this ongoing story are sure to surface in the days ahead. As for the update of the COVID-19 situation here in Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased today, with 1,636 newly reported cases and 38 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county are 236,986, with 5,701 deaths and 1,168 hospitalizations, as announced by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, in the state of California, the number of new cases increased, with 4,430 newly reported cases and 143 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases now in the state of California are 683,529, with 12,550 deaths and 4,293 hospitalizations, as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In North Hills, California, Mylene Crucio, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Mylene, I live in LA County, you live in LA County, so I am confident, I know for a fact, that you got a lot of friends and family that are big-time Los Angeles basketball fans. Let's talk about them. Are they still pushing for the postseason, or have the delays kind of, taken the wind out of their sails?
Well, it depends on who you speak to. But to answer, because they can go both ways. But one member of my family says that while he does want to see the playoffs continue, truthfully, he's lost a little of his enthusiasm because of the delays. However, one of the things that he really is hoping for during these postseason time is a dream matchup between Los Angeles Lakers and Los Angeles Clippers, battling it out for the Western Conference title. So he does want the games to continue, but ultimately supporting the players' rights to demand change.
The other thing I know that's a fact, Mylene, is that you're a very athletic person. Did you ever play basketball, or do you still play basketball?
Let's see. Yes, I am an athletic person, and yes, I still do play basketball.
Excellent. Well, that's good to hear that one of us still is playing. My season ended about 15 years ago when I realized that I couldn't run anymore. Thank you, Mylene, for your report.
You're welcome, Alan.
County allows the reopening of business. In Fremont, Aika Chong reports.
In Alameda County, we currently have a total number of 17,385 cases. In these current times, there are many things that are uncertain, especially when it comes to the economy. With the current conditions of businesses being closed and unable to operate, the lives of business owners and those in that line are being negatively affected. With a sudden drop in income from their business, their day-to-day living is heavily impacted. In a small effort to boost the economy of the Bay Area, Alameda County has allowed that certain businesses may reopen only if they are following a certain set of guidelines that Governor Newsom has created. Businesses that are allowed to reopen are those who can move their operations to an outdoor area. Some of these businesses include barbershops, nail salons, skincare services, and non-medical massages. While these are allowed to reopen, there are certain rules that each must follow in order to remain open and operate safely. These include both the customer and worker wearing masks for the duration of the service, disposable gloves must be used the entire time, and an outdoor reception for customers to check in must be made, and even more. With the entire nation in COVID's grip, businesses and business owners have to learn how to adapt to the ever-changing circumstances to be able to make ends meet. Although some businesses may be reopening for the betterment of the economy, It is still up to all of us to change the tide of this virus, to decrease the spread for the benefit of the community. From Fremont, California, Aika Chong, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
An intimate conversation with a frontline healthcare worker who battled and survived COVID-19. That's next. Eagle News America will return in a moment.
Sa Agosto 26 po ay unang taon ng anibersaryo ng pagpapasinaya po ng bagong gusali ng Iglesia ni Cristo Museum. Sa buong isang linggo ay may nakatakda pong aktibidad at sa araw po na ito, Agosto 25, yun po ang ating isasagawa, ang paglinga po sa mga frontliners po natin.
Bago po ang araw na ito ay naihanda at naigayak na po namin yung mga kailangan, yung mga gagamitin para po doon sa mga medical frontliners po natin na sa araw po na ito ay lilingapin po ng Iglesia ni Cristo Museum Cafe.
Po ay ang Philippine Children's Medical Center sapagkat doon po sa ospital na yun ay amin po napag-alaman na kailangan po nila ng donasyon at sila man ay may mga pasyenteng COVID patients. Diliman Doctors Hospital, New Era General Hospital.
Una sa lahat, siyempre, nagpapasalamat po tayo sa ating Panginoon Diyos. Pinasangkapan po niya ang ating pong tagapamahalang pangkalahatan para maisagawa po ang ganitong aktibidad na napakahalaga po sapagkat ito po ay bahagi ng pagdunita po sa pagsisinaya po ng gusali ng Iglesia ni Cristo Museum.
Muli ay nagpapasalamat po kami sa inyong walang sawang pagtulong.
And happy anniversary to INC Museum. Thank you!
Para sa akin, ang magaling na singer ay walang inaatrasan kahit ano pa man. Mapa one-on-one pa yan sa kantahan. Ako po si Marco Sison, nagbabalik bilang isa sa panel of judges this season. Magkita-kita po tayo sa pinakabago at pinakamalaking talent competition on Philippine TV. Tagi sa Nanggaling Part 2, dito lang sa Net25.
Do you want to earn a degree while you work? New Era University now offers Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP. ETIAP is an educational scheme that recognizes knowledge, skills, and prior learning obtained by individuals from non-formal and informal education experiences. It is implemented through deputized higher educational institutions like the New Era University that awards the appropriate degrees. Programs offered are the following: Master's Program, Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management, Master's Program in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Mass Communication, Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Filipino, major in English, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with majors in Human Resources Development, Marketing Management, and Financial Management. Beneficiaries must be Filipinos who have attained at least high school level of education. The program is flexible and you don't need to attend regular classes. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP, is under the supervision of Dr. Nilo L. Rosas, the university president, and Professor Anita P. Santos, director of ETIAP. For more information, contact the following: Cristina Moreno, 0995-138-0786, or email cvmoreno@meu.edu.ph, or Arlene Sarmiento, 0906-298-9150, or email cedctl@meu.edu.ph. What are you waiting for? Let New Era University be your partner in achieving your dreams.
Sino kaya ang magsashine sa kantahan? At sino din ang uuwing luhaan? Ang sigurado, magiging bahagi ako nito bilang hurado sa singing category. Ako po si Vina Morales. Kita-kits tayo sa pinakabago at pinakamalaking talent competition on Philippine TV. Tagisan ng Galing Part 2. Only here on Net 25.
May sakit na lumalaganap, lunas di pa nahahanap. May paraan para wag kumalat, kaalaman ay ipamalas. Pag-aralan mo dali na, simulan ang disiplina. Mapahamak ay hindi na, lahat ito ay makakaya. May tamang paraan ng paghuhugas ng kamay. Distansya, pila-pila, takpan ng bibig. Stay sa bahay. Tumaging kaisa tayo, nabilang sa pagsupong. Sama-sama natin talunin sa COVID-19. Sa COVID-19.
Lahat tayo ay nababahala, ang dami ng gawain na naaantala. Atensyon nyo'y kailangan ng italaga. Kailangan mo na magtiis at magtiyaga. Yes! Kalusugan ay kaligtasan, lumalalang sakit ay kayang iwasan. Mag-ingat sumunod, ito'y malulunasan. Darating din ang ginhawa ng kinabukasan. Ha!
May tamang paraan ng paghuhugas ng kamay. Distansya, pila-pila, takpan ng bibig. Stay sa bahay. O maging kaisa tayo, kami na sa pagsupong. Sama-sama nating talunin sa COVID-19. Sa COVID-19. O maging kaisa tayo, kami na sa pagsupong. Sama-sama nating talunin sa COVID-19. Sa COVID-19.
Ang happy show na pinagigiliwan, ang pinakamasayang tambayan, higit sa sorpresa at pangkabuhayan.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Happy time, happy time, happy time.
Ako na legendary Angeliana, oh my God!
Urban legend. We do not want to compete. Magpapasaya lang kami. Happy! Sabi ko, kumbaga sa tanghali, hindi naman pwedeng isang ulam lang. Mas maganda kung meron kang pinagpipilian.
Happy time!
Know the latest news and information here and abroad in Aguila Balita, the morning and noontime news programs brought about by the synergy of Net 25 and Radio Aguila.
Get the fresh news and reports from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao in our midday newscast in Aguila, Pilipinas.
Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia.
Be aware of important events in the region in ASEAN in Focus.
And be updated with the biggest news around the world with the support of its international correspondents and volunteers in Eagle News International.
Tune in to Mata ng Agila and get the day's headlines and news that are sharp, accurate, and objective. Catch all of these on Net25, your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
You can also watch our news and current affairs programs and entertainment shows through our Eagle News and Net25 Facebook pages, YouTube channel, at Eagle News, and in our live streaming sites. Be informed with relevant news and information in these interesting times.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe in Los Angeles. Tonight, we get to listen to a story of a mother, wife, and frontline healthcare worker who recently battled COVID-19 as a nurse and as a patient. But before we meet her, let's watch this.
Mary Tess Herrera, or Tess to her friends, is a wife and mother of 3 rapidly growing children. Religion is at the heart of Tess's household, and when the coronavirus pandemic struck, she, like many others, prayed for her family. She would pray for them before leaving them to answer the call of her other duty, to care for COVID-19 patients. Tess Herrera is a nurse.
It wasn't easy being apart from my husband and kids, but when you're a frontliner, you have an obligation to help.
Help, however, would come at a cost, one that Tess couldn't avoid paying.
I contracted coronavirus.
The widespread coronavirus had seized yet another victim, this despite precautions being taken.
My assignment was to care for 17 COVID patients, and so I followed every health protocol, washing my hands frequently, wearing PPEs, etc. I self-isolated at a hotel so that in case I get infected, the only person I'd have to worry about would be me. No one wants to think about getting sick, but when you're in the healthcare profession, the risk is always there, no matter how careful you try to be. I rested as much as I could, prayed every day, and kept my faith in God, trusting that He would take care of everything.
Today, Tess is back at work, continuing to brave the hazards of a world beset by COVID-19, relying on her strong convictions and the support of family to see her through. In Los Angeles, California, Eva Basalyahe, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Mary Tess Herrera joins us on our broadcast today. Mary Tess, 2 questions before we get started. First of all, how are you feeling? And secondly, can I call you Tess?
I'm feeling fine, Alan. And yes, you may call me Tess. I'm more comfortable with that than Mary Tess. Nobody really calls me Mary Tess.
Okay. Well, Tess, you know, listening to this report, I understand that you're married. Husband's name is Paul, and you have 3 children. And I think they like to be called young adults, I believe is what they like to be called. How does your family feel knowing that your assignment takes you straight into the pandemic?
They're worried all the time. They ask me how I'm feeling. We have a routine every time, every day. It's a same exact routine. When I leave, they say, be careful, we'll see you later. When I come home, I'm greeted with a blanket so that I can take off all of my scrubs, and my shoes is left outside. And after that, I wrap myself with a blanket and I go straight to shower. That's every day, every work day. So it's hard.
Now, take us with you to the front line. What kind of havoc does coronavirus wreak over the lives of your patients?
Our facility, it's called a skilled nursing facility, and these are elderly patients that we have. And it's our main goal is to keep them healthy, keep them alive, living. It's their home. So for them to be touched by this horrible, horrible bug and seeing them get it weaker and weaker, it's hard. Our facility is not equipped like an emergency hospital where all the equipments are there to help them. But if they are positive and they're showing symptoms, the difference that you see in their demeanor and the way they are before getting sick, it's heartbreaking. You see them always every morning. Before they're always saying hi. Activities, they're looking forward to it. They know who their nurses are, so they're looking forward to meet them. But when they're sick and they look frail more than before and unresponsive sometimes, it's hard to see that. I'm not used to seeing my patients feeling sick and feeling weak. And that's what we had in our COVID. Some passed away, and others survived, and it comes and goes. We had about 2 cases already having to have a COVID unit. That was the earlier, and then the last case that we had was about maybe just 2 weeks ago.
And then the moment arrived when you yourself tested positive for COVID-19. And I do want to talk about your experience with the disease, but before that, I want to address the feeling of guilt, because you told me that you did feel guilty over getting sick.
Yes. The first thing when I was feeling the symptoms, because I stayed in a hotel right when I got assigned for the COVID unit. But 2 weeks into my assignment, pulling 12-hour shifts, 3 to 4 days, it takes a toll. And that one afternoon I came to the hotel, I felt the symptom. The first thing I could tell myself is like, why? What did I do? I did everything that I could, but I knew it. I knew I had it. The fever came first. And the guilt was that I'm a healthcare worker. I should know better. But I guess this bug is just too strong.
Sure. And you know, Tess, I'm quite positive. I, for one, can also attest to this, that I'm sure nobody blames you for getting sick, that you did absolutely everything you could. But now let's talk about the sickness. Talk to us about the experiences, the symptoms that occurred.
As a nurse, we saw it happening. So that night when I came home, body aches started. And I was trying to psych myself up. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take Tylenol. I'm just going to rest. I told my family, I told my DON already. I texted her right away and I said, this is not looking good, but I'll let you know tomorrow. And sure enough, the next day I had a fever. And the first thing that my DON texted back to me was, go get tested, and you're off for 14 days. So I was off the schedule, off the assignment, and went to Kaiser, drove myself. My husband wanted to come with me, but I said, there's no way. No matter how much I wanted him to come, but what I was feeling, I knew what it was. And then the very next day, Kaiser has a really quick response to all the testing, and I was positive.
Now, you mentioned, we
And,
heard, yes, and we heard in the video that you had to take measures, right, to protect your loved ones. Can you elaborate more what you actually did to protect your loved ones, your family members?
As soon as I had the assignment, my first protection, my first instinct was to go on a hotel. I'm grateful that our state provided that to all the healthcare workers. I wasn't gonna bring that home, and my husband was adamant about it. He said, "Oh, we'll do the routine that we were talking about," but seeing my patients and seeing how they were feeling, I didn't want to bring that home. It was just too scary. It was, my protection was the hotel. That's the first instinct that I did, and no contact at all with anybody. I even had meals delivered. I didn't want to go out. I was afraid the guilt will set in more if I go out knowing I was positive. So I guess that's one of the perks. I get to have delivered food in my hotel. But yeah.
Right, and hopefully next time your hotel stay will be with your husband and family on vacation. Tess, thankfully you've made a full recovery, right, by the looks of it. What do you attribute as the single most important factor for being able to bounce back and rejoin your family?
Just knowing how to be able to take care of myself. I provided that to my patients, so I was confident. But the 2 weeks that I had to recover, being sick and having recovery, the first thing that I was truly grateful for was the technology that we have. I was still able to worship. I was still able to perform my duties as LOS secretary and attend meetings, do FaceTimes with anybody I can do. It's really lonely in the hotel for not being able to come out and just having food delivered. It's not fun at all. But just the fact that even though I was feeling low and scared most of the time, really, I had the connection electronically, and especially with worship services and meetings, I was worried about that too as well. So I was able to connect all the time.
Right. Well, I know that eventually everyone would get tired of watching hotel cable, so I'm glad you're able to keep your spirits up in that manner. In our panel discussion tonight, we have our Eagle News correspondents who also have perhaps a question or two to direct in your direction, Tess. And we go first to Chai Masaga in Maryland. Chai, please join us. What do you want to ask our guest tonight?
Yes, Alan. First of all, hi, Tess, and thank you for sharing your story with us. And we're happy that you're okay and fully recovered from COVID-19. Well, I only have one question, Tess. You're welcome. The very first time you learned that you tested positive for COVID-19, what's the very first thing that crossed your mind?
The very first thing was I'm off the assignment. How is my patients gonna be? How I'm gonna tell my family. The first person I told was my husband, and sure enough, he was going crazy out of his mind. I pretty much I had one point where I didn't want to tell my parents. They're at the state where I didn't want them to worry. So I kind of held off on that one. I think they were the last ones I told. I told my siblings, but I kept telling them, don't tell mom and dad. I told my closest friends. But the first thing that came to my mind was, what did I do? And I tried all the things that I done to protect myself, but still yet I got it. So again, the guilt there too came in.
But still you recovered. Thank you, Tess.
And how about lovely Anderson from Fort Worth, Texas?
Hi, Martez. Thank goodness that you're well now. First and foremost, I want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing and all the efforts you're doing for your patients as a healthcare professional. However, a question that I have is, my biggest fear is being away from my family for so long. 2 weeks without your family. What kept you sane? What kept you going?
Actually, I was sick for 2 weeks, but I was in the hotel for about a month and a half. So what kept me sane? A lot of Netflix. Just kidding. No, I slept most of the time, to be honest with you. Pulling 12-hour shifts when I'm scheduled to work. The first thing that you do is just see that bed and just plop down and sleep. And then you're like, oh no, I have to wake up the next morning. So our ability to be able to connect technology-wise is amazing. All my friends were calling me. I think, I don't want to be mean, I was getting annoyed at one point where I just want to sleep and everybody's calling me, especially my mom. So that's how I coped with it. The sleep, getting rest, and keeping yourself handy, keeping yourself with Netflix and all that technology can offer is the best.
And you know, Tess, we have also, with a question, our sometimes bureau chief from Las Vegas, sometimes beach goer in San Diego, Anna Cui.
Tess, thank you, and I'm glad you are well now. So I was wondering, if there was I know there's probably, nothing that you could prepare specifically, but was there something that you wish you had, while you were in isolation that you didn't have with you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Is there something that I have?
Yeah, during, when you were in isolation, was there something that you wish you had, that you didn't have with you, that maybe that could have helped you, maybe?
I wish I had my family. I'm used to coming home and trying to get on their case, like, what did you guys do all day long? And I didn't have that. I came home to an empty room, and though tired, and yes, I fell asleep, but there'll be nights sometimes that I just twitch and it's just too quiet. It's like something's wrong. My husband laughs at me all the time because I have the TV on and I have all the lights on. I'm a scaredy cat, so I need white noise around me and the lights on. If not at home with him, I probably, in the dark, I can sleep better, but being alone, my friends know I'm a scaredy cat, so yes. Yeah, definitely I would like to have my family there.
I'm with you there. Well, thank you, Tess, for sharing your story.
Tess, we have two correspondents from North Hills, California, also in this panel discussion. We'll start off first with Mylene Cuscio. Mylene.
Hi, Tess. I'm glad you're feeling well. Thank you for all that you've been doing as a healthcare worker. I do have a question for you. I know that you love to eat. How did the COVID-19 affect your taste in food?
Okay. I love to eat. I love food as hell. I gained a lot of weight because of that. All my friends know, I hate spicy food. I hate with a passion. I don't understand how people can eat that. But having one of the symptoms of COVID is loss of taste and smell. I was really disappointed. I'm paying for all this money and I can't enjoy my food, even though I know it looks good. A juicy hamburger, a nice pasta, had no taste, had no smell. And I even made everybody laugh with this. I bought the spiciest food I could find, which is my favorite. It was the shrimp, stinking crab. Like those shrimp that it's in the bag with all the good stuff in there. I normally just buy it lemon, what is it called? Lemon garlic. So plain, but it tastes so good. But I bought it very spicy and I actually enjoyed it.
Wow.
And that was surprising to me.
Yeah, let's.
But did I go back to?
All right, let's forget about getting sick.
I go back to eating spicy.
Yeah, Tess, let's forget about getting sick because we don't want to give up our love for food. We have time for one real quick question. Por Rogacion in North Hills.
Hi, Tess. It's always a good news knowing that someone survived from this pandemic. So I have a question for you. When you fully recovered from this virus and you're ready to go back to work, were you really ready going back to work? How did you feel? Were you excited or were you scared that you might get it again?
There were two parts to that. Of course, all of our fellow nurses, we keep in contact with each other, especially with questions and how do you do this? How is so-and-so? How is this? Part of me, I was really saddened when I was gone for 2 weeks. Some of my patients passed away. So I wanted to go back. But honestly, I know it's the job. I know it's what I signed up for. To be honest, no. I'm just tired. And then having our facility being COVID-free, I was elated. I was like, yes, finally. So that one, so the emotions go from here to there. And then having it back again 2 weeks, I was surprised. And I was gearing myself up like, okay, here we go. 12-hour shifts, hotel again, hotel. So yeah, you just have to deal with it, I guess.
Well, Mary Tess, on behalf of all the 12-hour shifters like yourself, we do thank you so much. And that we actually come to the part of our broadcast where we continue to thank frontliners, first responders, and essential workers like Mary Tess Heredia with a round of applause. Let's give them a round of applause, everyone. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. And that is today's Eagle News America. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alan Pasoyahe. We live in interesting times.
Na umaapila sa gobyerno